straight into it. For the past 50 years, ever since the Supreme Court decided Roe v. Wade, women in America have had the right to choose whether or not to have an abortion. And now it looks like that right is going away.
Bombshell, the Supreme Court poised to strike down Roe versus Wade. That, according to an unprecedented leak of the justice's draft opinion overnight, a decision would alter the nationwide battle over abortion.
The blockbuster story broke overnight on the Politico website, reporting that a draft of the Supreme Court's opinion shows the court overturning Roe v. Wade in a blistering ruling.
Tensions flared outside the nation's highest court after an unprecedented leak. But the bombshell report comes as 5 states have enacted strict abortion restrictions and sweeping bans, many of them ready to immediately cut off access to care.
If the high court does overturn Roe versus Wade, over 20 states are poised to immediately ban abortion.
That's right, people. If the court's decision is released officially, abortion will be illegal in about half the states in America. Yeah, that means all across the country, women in places like South Dakota or Missouri or even Texas will have the exact same abortion rights as women in Afghanistan under the Taliban. Yeah, and just think about that. We just evacuated people out of Afghanistan, and now we're going to have to evacuate them out of Tennessee? And isn't it amazing? After all these years of the right screaming about the threats of Sharia law, it turns out they were just jealous. Now, to be clear, Roe v. Wade hasn't yet been overturned, right? This is a leaked draft from February. It's not official. Like, for all we know, the opinion could change by the time it's released, or the justices who signed on to it in February could change their minds. It is not likely, but it's technically possible. I mean, like, who knows? Maybe Justice Alito will try ayahuasca and come back with a totally new perspective on the universe and how we're all connected. Or maybe between then and now, one of these justices will have a daughter, and then they'll understand. Wait, hold on. Oh, I'm being told 4 of them do have daughters. Oh. Okay, well, that's up. But it's important to remember how we got here. Because keep in mind that poll after poll shows that a majority of Americans don't want Roe v. Wade to be overturned. But the GOP didn't care about that. No, they didn't care about winning over the people. They just cared about getting enough justices onto the court to get what they want. Basically, they use the same tactic that asshole friend of yours uses when they're ordering pizza. Hey, what topics does everyone want? What do you want on the pizza? Extra cheese and pepperoni. Well, I'm ordering, so it's anchovies and pineapples. Dick. And that's basically how you end up with a Supreme Court decision that amounts to a hostile takeover of America's reproductive rights.
The draft opinion is apparently written by Justice Samuel Alito. The language of this draft is blunt, at times scornful. Justice Alito apparently writing that Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. He calls it an abuse of judicial authority and adds it is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives.
Justice Samuel Alito says, quote, the inescapable conclusion is that the right to abortion is not deeply rooted in the nation's history and traditions.
Yeah, believe it or not, according to this argument, there actually is no fundamental right for women to control their own bodies. Yeah, lawmakers could pass laws giving them that, but that right is not part of this nation's history and traditions, which is kind of true. I mean, the history of this nation is that men can control what women do, and that's what we want to go back to, right? Progress? Yes, yes, am I getting it right? I mean, but then again, the right to an abortion has also been around for 50 years now. Think about it. You want to talk about history and tradition? I think it's safe to say that that's a tradition at this point. Like, if you go without electricity for a weekend, you're camping. If you go without it for 50 years, you're Amish, motherfucker. That's just who you are. That's just who you are. And most people thought the freedom to choose was just how America was. No one ever thought the GOP could just roll it back by playing a reverse Uno card. They didn't know it was a thing. I mean, okay, for perspective, consider this. It wasn't until the year after Roe v. Wade that women in America got the legal right to have a credit card without a man. Think about that. Yeah. And I think we would all agree it would be a little weird if the court was suddenly like, look, if the founders wanted women to have credit cards, they would have said so. They would have.